look, I want to talk about where we are. I want to talk about, we finished 15th. We lost the Europa League final. We were awful last season. I don't necessarily want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is what we've done after that. Because it's relevant. We were awful. We were 15th. We lost that Europa League final, which was big. But the season ended. We woke up on the Thursday morning and many of us went, we've hit rock bottom. It's quite enlightening. There's only one way up now. There's nowhere to hide. And yet we've hidden. I remember saying on that Monday morning, I remember working up towards that Spurs Europa League final, and it was like the biggest game I could remember in a long time. It had so much jeopardy. We had to win it, and I thought we were. I thought we would. After Lyon, I thought we would find a way. And then we turned in a terrible performance. We deserved to lose. And I went to bed on the Wednesday night thinking, God, I don't know. And then I woke up on the Thursday morning and I thought, actually, I'm the sort of person that when there's a challenge, you'll have a go. And I thought, you know what? I'm not saying there's a way back, but there's a scrap, there's a fight, there's a challenge. I'm up for it. And we've not took that challenge at all, because I look at where we are now, 2 months later, and forgetting last season and just judging the transfer window, I think it's very easy to have a league table on the transfer window. I don't know why people don't do it. At the moment, you'd put Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal in the top 4 again. You'd put teams like, even Sunderland are having a good transfer window. It doesn't mean they're going to be in the top 10, but they're having a good transfer window. I'd put Man United comfortably in the bottom half, and we needed to be in the top 4. And, I would say to the positive merchants, tell me I'm wrong. I'm not talking about last season. I'm not talking about your pre-season. I'm not talking about your positivity. We needed to be in the top 4 for transfer windows this summer. And we're in the bottom half again. It's depressing. I don't understand it. I think anyway, Aaron says, I think the Mbeumo deal is stalled because sales haven't happened to help the budget get the other position sorted. The top brass heads back in panic mode, says Aaron. Well, Mbeumo was back in training for Brentford today. I still am hopeful that deal is going to happen this week, as I'm sure many of you are. I'm not bothered that he's back in training. I actually think it's really sad that Ugarte refused to go back to train for Sporting when they had such a good relationship. They gave him the opportunity from Coventry and it ends sour. I don't like that. I actually haven't got a problem with Mbeumo being back in training at Brentford. It just shows his professionalism. I think it's a good thing. We haven't bought him. He should go back to pre-season and start getting a pre-season. I've seen people moaning about it going, oh God, oh no, I was hoping he wasn't going to turn up. And I thought, I'm glad he's turned up. He's having some pre-season. And he's showing professionalism. I haven't got a problem with it at all. Hello everybody, today's clip is supported by Sleeper. Before we dive in, let me tell you a bit more about Sleeper. This app is making serious waves. It was the #1 downloaded sports app in the US during the NFL season, even beating heavyweights such as ESPN and Yahoo. Sleeper isn't just popular, it's because they truly deliver the best fantasy experience. You get deeper customization, more league options, and all the bells and whistles that make managing your fantasy team a blast. But that's not all. Sleeper is growing a fantastic community with several million people using it daily for their sports fix. Sleeper has a broad appeal and is genuinely built for everyone. So, if you're looking to up your fantasy game, make sure to check out Sleeper by clicking the link in the video description. Trust me, you won't regret it. No, I haven't got a problem with it at all. I don't think it makes any difference at all. All I'd say about Mbeumo is probably what every one of you are going to say as well. We could have got this deal done in a week. I think Newcastle would have done. If Newcastle wanted Mbeumo, I think if he'd wanted them, he'd have been wearing a Newcastle shirt by the middle of June instead of still wearing a Brentford one in the middle of July. So I don't understand why we haven't done it in a week. I genuinely can't even remember there being joy when we signed Cunha with how long this Mbeumo stuff has gone on and overshadowed it. Depressing, says Barry. I think Mbeumo is a very good signing that we will appreciate more and more the more we see him in a shirt in proper games. Why doesn't anybody want our players like Rashi, says MUFC? Too expensive, really. What's the chances Jim decides what Liverpool did last summer is what we should do? 1 to 10 chance of us even buying a number 9 at this point. I'm at 4, says Jack Smith. Wow, you can't... You cannot compare us to Liverpool last season. I think anybody who does that needs to, educate themselves on the fact that Jurgen Klopp left a team that was capable of winning the league. And Eric Ten Hag left a team that was capable of getting relegated. So you need to buy. No hate, but Terry is legit a positivity merchant. Yeah, but we like Terry. And the great thing about Terry is I'm on with Terry on his channel tomorrow at 11. I'll tell him, and he'll fight his corner. I don't mind that, but he will concede. He'll concede again tomorrow that it's not been a good transfer window. He has got the ability to listen. Lee Payne says there is nothing to be positive about. Well, if there is something to be positive about, then maybe somebody can tell us tonight. But I want you to talk to me about why this is happening, because I obviously talk to you a lot and I can give you my opinion, but I think a new angle to look at it for an 8 o'clock show is we're in the bottom half of the table again for the transfer window, and we were in the bottom half of the table for the Premier League season. It doesn't go together. It's like pissing on your chips. It's not going to work. You piss in the toilet and you eat your chips. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And the lack of communication is really poor as well. I'm sure Omar Barada or Jason Wilcox would love to be talking. Well, probably not love to, because they'd get difficult questions. But if they were told to, they would. It clearly comes from the top. And the lack of communication is appalling. It really is. And yeah, look, I'd love to see games getting cancelled. I'd love to see the Glazers and Sir Jim Radcliffe under pressure, because he said if he's under pressure, he's going to go. So he should be put under pressure. But all they're doing is hiding. It reminds me so much. Remember when Solskjaer got battered by Liverpool and everybody just basically was like, he's got to go. He's got to go. And we hit an international break and everyone was like, they've got to sack him in the international break. And they didn't. We came back and we got battered by Watford, and then they did sack him. But in the international break, a lot of people are expecting the club to do something. They went and hid in a cave. Metaphorically, they hid. They just went and hid away. And then we were all just left there going, so we're keeping him then, are we? This is still what's happening. And Sir Jim Radcliffe's meant to be in charge of the footballing side. He's meant to be the British billionaire, Champagne Charlie, Champers. He's somebody that's been very visible when he's been involved in other sports, whether it be Formula One, cycling, boating. He's the invisible man at Man United. He is legitimately in charge of the football side and hides. He can definitely hold himself in an interview. Provide a bottle of champagne and he'd be away. But I'm not saying he likes champagne. I'm just taking the piss out of the way he talks. But the reality is, I would have expected him to talk a lot more. And most of his interviews have actually not been directly to do with Man United. I mean, one of the big ones about a year ago was actually on a cycling podcast. So I just think the lack of communication is terrible as well. That, to me, I want to get your thoughts on this. As I say, the point is, Newcastle are now in for Ekitike and they've bought Elanga. Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal are miles ahead of us and are making better signings. Top four, goodbye. But even if fifth place is up for grabs next year, Newcastle and Spurs are signing better players than us and we're already better than us. The gap basically is bigger. I'm looking at Villa, Spurs, Newcastle as maybe we can find a way into fifth place. And they were already better than us. I think Newcastle have got one of the best midfields in Europe, actually. And they're buying better players than us. So the gap's just getting big. Our only play seems to be, yeah, but we've got a week off when they haven't. That seems to be our only tactic. They'll be tired. But they won't be tired. They won't be tired, will they? Because they're building big squads. They're not going to be tired. We think we're going to rock up to Anfield and they're going to be tired because they played midweek. One, it will be Super Sunday. And two, they'll have rested players anyway. So, yeah, it's massively confusing. Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video because we all know only legends like videos and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching as always.